What's up everybody, this is Brenton Brown from Forza Tuning and Performance, and today we're going to do a video kind of more based on the Scat Pack platform. We get a lot of inquiries and questions. Do you all work on Scat Packs? Do you have packages for them? And just some different things based off the Scat Pack. So behind me I have a 2018 Charger Daytona 392, and then I have a 2019 Red Eye. So I don't have a Charger to compare it to, or even a regular Hellcat, so this is the closest we're gonna get. But for the sake of comparisons, it's pretty close. So let's start off by popping the hoods on both cars. Okay, this is a bone stock 2019 Red Eye. Okay, and this is a, like I said, it's a 2018 Charger Daytona. Okay, so I'm not an expert on all the different submodels of Charger and Challenger, because honestly, the 99% of the stuff that comes in here is Hellcat, Hellcat Red Eye, Dodge Demon, or Trackhawk. Okay, but I know a little bit about this, and then I've got some more general information that will probably address a lot of questions that we get. So you can get a Charger in some submodels. I'm not going to get into all those because I don't even know all the details of those, but you can get a Charger RT, and you can get that in a 5.7, or you can get it in a 6.4, okay? And then you can get a Charger Daytona, okay? So the Daytona you can get with the same two engines, the 5.7 or the 6.4, and the Daytona basically has a better suspension package. There's a few other things like leather interior and things like that, and the seats are badged with Daytona, so it's just a little bit higher trim level, than you can still get either engine. And then they have the Charger Scat Pack, okay, which is only available in the 6.4 liter engine. So a Dodge Daytona 392, so 392 is the 6.4 liter, okay, which is what this is, has the same power as the SRT Scat Pack with the 6.4 liter, okay? The Scat Pack has basically more options. I think like I don't even know exactly. I think like it has the blindside turn signal thing, just more options added to it, but same power level, okay? So this car, we actually did thermostat, plugs, headers, cat delete. He already had a cold air intake on here. He already had a cold air intake installed, and he had this catch can deal, which we've already gone through what I think about these, but he already had it on there. This is a basic kind of standard package that we do. So what do we do to the Scat Packs? Okay, everybody pretty much knows what we do to the Hellcat stuff. So a Scat Pack, you've got kind of two different options. You can go bolt-ons, so you can do like a cold air intake, a different spark plug, usually a heat range colder, a thermostat, and you can tune it. And that would be kind of like a stage one. And stage two would more or less be like adding long tube headers and high flow cats or cat delete or whatever you're going to do. The rest of the exhaust, honestly, with headers and especially cat delete, the exhaust is pretty loud even with the stock cat back. So just like on the Hellcat, we don't really recommend changing it. We don't recommend mid muffler deletes or none of that other shit. And that's pretty much all you're gonna get based off bolt-ons, okay? So then you have the option of going forced induction, which typically would mean a supercharger. Either like a Whipple style supercharger, which is what we would typically use, or something like a centrifugal, like a Pro Charger setup or something like that. Both those supercharger systems have their goods and their bads, so I'm not going to get into all that. But basically, it would be adding forced induction, or we could even add like nitrous and stuff like that on there. We get a lot of calls, okay, and emails and messages, and I answer this, I don't know how many times on a daily basis. It's somebody that is either debating whether to buy like a Scat Pack or a Hellcat, Scat Pack or a Red Eye, a Jeep SRT8 versus a Trackhawk, and they're basically wanting to know, if I'm gonna modify it anyway, can I just start with the Scat Pack instead of the Hellcat, or can I start with the SRT8 Jeep instead of the Trackhawk? There's two basic thought process through that, okay? So the easiest way I can break it down is all the cars look very similar, okay? So an SRT8 Jeep looks very similar to a Trackhawk. The Charger between a Hellcat and a Scat Pack look very similar. So physical appearance wise, obviously if you pop the hood, these two engines don't look anything alike, but most people are under the misconception that, if I put a supercharger like that onto this engine, isn't it the same thing? And no, it's not the same thing. The main reason being is that this engine, either the 5.7 or the 6.4, is much, much weaker than the Hellcat based stuff. Either the Hellcat or the Red Eye or Demon type platform. The Red Eye and the Demon platform or the Hellcat platform is an incredibly strong entire drivetrain, really. I mean, it has its weak links, but for the most part, the engine is very, very durable. Really, so on the Hellcat and the Red Eye or Demon platform, the biggest weak link are the connecting rods, okay? They can bend and then eventually break and go through the block. Now, the only really time that we ever see this, we've only seen it a few times, but the only time that this has ever happened that we've ever seen is because of fuel quality issues, or the tune is extremely aggressive for pump gas, okay? And pump gas is just because it's very hard to control the quality. You really don't know what you're getting at the pump. Even if you go to a good gas station and you're getting premium gas, you don't know if that's all 93 in that tank. And I can promise you that it's not. If a gas station gets gas delivered and there's 300 gallons left in the truck and the tanks are full except for 93, they're going to get hit with a charge if they send that truck back with fuel on it. So I know several gas station owners, and they dump the gas in the 93 tank. Is it right? Hell no, it's not right, but it happens, okay? So if you're going to drive a car with a lot of horsepower, you have to take that into consideration, which is why we always recommend boosting and stuff like that to buy you some insurance. On the 5.7 and the 6.4, the piston skirts are definitely the weakest point, okay? So if you're going to do forced induction on this, you can do this on, I'm going to say 6 pounds of boost. Some people will say 7 or 8. I always err on the conservative side. So if you're really diligent about your fuel quality, or adding a quality octane booster like Boostane or VP in with like a premium fuel like Shell 93 octane, and the tune is spot on, it's not a real aggressive, crazy tune, the engine will live a long life. If you change any one of those variables, the engine is going to have an extremely short life. 6 pounds of boost. The Hellcat has, those will have anywhere from 11 to 13, depending on what platform you're talking about. That's stock. So we can push those to 16, 18, sometimes 20 pounds of boost on stock internals, and that engine lives. Okay, so that shows you how much stronger it is. So the next question is, well, what about if I just change the pistons and rods? Is it the same then? And the answer to that is no. Every system in the car, as far as the engine cooling system, the engine oil coolers, the transmission coolers, the motor mounts, every single thing in the car is built substantially stronger on a Hellcat-based platform. You would have to drastically change a lot of stuff in this car, which is probably going to put you at the price point of a Hellcat-based car, to try to get it as strong and overall as good. So economically, it really doesn't make sense to do that. So if you don't have the money for the Hellcat, and say you want more power than has stock, and you're perfectly acceptable with 100 to 150 horsepower over stock, which is what you get on 6-7 pounds of boost, and you're okay at that level, then no, the Scat Pack is not a bad route to go, okay? Because that's realistic. And you can have a car that's much faster than stock, and you didn't spend the money of the Hellcat-based platform, and if that suits your needs, then there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you want 1,000 horsepower or 1,200 horsepower, and you want to start with the Scat Pack, that's not really feasible. It'd be much smarter to start with a Hellcat-based platform, whether it be the Hellcat, Red Eye, Demon, Trackhawk. It basically goes any platform all the same. So we get asked that a lot. That is my answer to the question. Scat Pack's a good car. It's just, it costs less money because there's a lot less engineering and parts and so on and so forth that goes into it, so that can lower the cost down. Other than that, I'm not an expert on, well, I'm not an expert at anything really, but I'm definitely not an expert at all the different submodels of the cars. So I don't know, I haven't measured calipers and rotors and all that stuff. They look pretty similar on the cars. So I don't know every single detail of difference. I just know the stuff that comes into play that I have to know when designing these packages. One other thing that I'll bring up is, a lot of people are, when they're talking about adding a supercharger, and say they're going to build the engine and we're going to put, let's say, a Whipple supercharger on there. The supercharger system that is on the Hellcat-based vehicle uses a 2-belt system. One that basically only runs the supercharger, and it's a 10-rib wide belt. okay? The other runs the accessories on the vehicle, okay? So this is really important. When you take a Scat Pack platform or a Jeep SRT8 platform, those supercharger systems utilize one belt that run the supercharger and the accessories, okay? And all the accessories on the front are 6-rib belts. So your supercharger has to run off a 6-rib belt. Now, the size of that supercharger belt is going to limit how much boost or how hard you can run that supercharger before the belt starts to break. I'm sure any of y'all that had supercharged cars with 6-rib belt, you have run into issues with belts breaking. It's super frustrating. Usually it tears shit up underneath the hood when they break. There are some cars that you can buy like 10-rib conversions, and they're expensive, but you can change everything on the front of the engine to accept a 10-rib. On the Dodge platforms, there's not. So stuff like that would have to be custom made. You can get into a lot of money. So things like that, even if you built the engine and you put this Whipple on there, you're going to constantly run into issues when trying to get to the power level of a built Hellcat based vehicle. And that's just one that I can think off the top of my head. These cars will have more trouble keeping the engine cooler. The cooling system's not efficient, engine oil cooler, all the stuff that I mentioned, all this comes into play. So there's a big difference between a Scat Pack that can put down some crazy high dyno number, okay? I'm not saying that can't be done, but when we're talking about a super high powered street car that is just as reliable as a stock car, if not more reliable, then that's a whole different topic altogether, okay? So a lot of what people see is they just see the flash. They see a dyno number, they say it was a Scat Pack, they did this. That doesn't mean that you can hop in that Scat Pack and drive from Florida to California. That bell, yep. So that doesn't mean that you can hop in that high-powered Scat Pack and it's necessarily reliable enough to drive it across the country, okay? Whereas you start off with a Hellcat-based platform, you can literally drive that like a daily vehicle, even our Stage 4R package, because the whole car is engineered from the vehicle manufacturer to be a very high horsepower and durable platform. So that pretty much sums it up. Yes, we do some packages on Scat Pack stuff. We don't get near the calls. Most of the calls that we get and inquiries are all Hellcat based stuff, but yes, we do them. We have some packages. That's kind of my logic and thought on it. Not to say it's right, that's just my opinion on it. If it were my own money, if I had this car and I could spend, say $30,000 on the Scat Pack, I'm just making a number up. I don't even know what they sell for. So, and I could dump, $30,000 into it, or I could buy a $60,000 Hellcat and dump 5 to 10 into it. 6 months down the road, a year down the road, you're tired of it, your Hellcat is still going to be worth the 60 grand or very close to it, where the $30,000 that you stunk into the Scat Pack, nobody cares. You're not going to get any of that back. Okay, you still have just the same resale value of a Scat Pack. So with that kind of mindset, it just makes sense to me to spend the money in the vehicle platform that is worth more money, and you can recoup that money back out of it much easier that way later on down the road. So that makes sense to me. I hope this covers any questions. If y'all have anything else Scat Pack related, I'll be happy to answer them. Just put it in the comments, and as always, I try to get back with everybody, and that about wraps it up. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you liked it, and we'll see you again next time.